Welcome, superstar, to how to scale a successful speaking business with a big back end. First, I'm going to talk about why you might want to consider a big back end for your speaking business. Then I'll dive into what those are, what a big back end even is. And then finally, I'll get into how you can do it and specific ways that you can leverage what you're already doing and the success that you already have into further long-term recurring revenues. Let's go. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm guessing it's because you're already successful as a speaker. You're already getting gigs, and perhaps you're even a little sick of the grind. You're on airplanes all the time. Maybe you're sleeping in hotel rooms more than you'd like, and you'd like to figure out a way to make more money with less time and effort, less time on the road, especially. Now, another thing as a successful speaker that you might be experiencing, which I know I did, is up and down revenues, particularly now after the couple of years that we've had. When you're a speaker, any interruption in the economy, any big breakdowns can really impact your income. So what I found is that a lot of successful speakers have revenues that look like a roller coaster. Some months are amazing with a lot of gigs, and then some months are really bad. And especially when COVID first began, I know some million-dollar speakers that had their entire speaking calendars wiped out, which meant that their entire expected revenues for the year were wiped out. And that was a pretty scary place to be. So what I'm going to share with you is a way to mitigate that and to stabilize revenues and create something more consistent and sustainable without the ups and downs that you can get as a speaker, even a successful one. So the solution that I discovered, and I want to share honestly that I discovered it pretty much by accident by having my own big breakdown in my business, which I'll share a little bit more about in a minute. The solution is to turn your success that you've had as a speaker, those client relationships, those audiences that you're in front of, to turn them into what I call a big back end. Now, a big back end, what is it? My definition, because I made this up, is that it is a monthly recurring revenue back end from speaking, meaning that the same people that you're delivering your speaking offerings to, whether it's the people who are hiring you to speak or it's the people in the audiences, that either of these two groups or both even have something that they can invest in on the back end of your speaking. And that something leads to monthly recurring revenue. So on this side, if we're talking about the corporate clients or association clients that you're working with and speaking for, that they would invest in some sort of retainer, some sort of ongoing training, some sort of ongoing video content or learning platform or whatever it is, but it's ongoing, so monthly recurring or annual recurring. Or the people in the audience are people that you can bring forward, not in a sleazy, cheesy, sell from the stage kind of way. Do want to address that, although I'm not going to dive deep into that in this video. But that there's some way that you call those people forward into some sort of follow-up program that gets them from just having that initial experience with you into something that's more of a long-term relationship. So a membership, a subscription, a mastermind, a group program, or something like that. Now, before I get into exactly how to do this, I want to invite you to please subscribe to my channel. That way you'll find out about future videos that I launch. I have a lot of videos about how to grow and scale a successful speaking, coaching, or consulting business. And please like this video and maybe even share some of your comments below. So, by the way, how I figured this out was that I had a quote unquote successful speaking business. And when I say quote unquote, the reason I did that is because on paper, it looked really good. At the end of the year, I was generating multiple six figures. I was speaking all over the place. I looked good. I sounded good. And I was exhausted. And I also was stressed out because I never knew what kind of month I was going to have, because my revenues were just up and down like a roller coaster. Some months I got great business, some months I got less business. It wasn't super predictable. And I was, I'm not the person, and maybe you are, but I'm not, who's super even in her activity. Like some months I have more energy, some months I have less energy. And so I wasn't doing like super consistent follow-up, and my business as a result was up and down. And so what happened was I had a breakdown in 2014. I met a mentor, and that mentor is who helped me see the opportunity in front of me, that every time I was in front of an audience, every time I was serving a corporate or association client, I had the opportunity to instigate and initiate a long-term relationship instead of just like a one and done, hey, here's your speech, see you next year or see you in a few years, right? How do I turn this beginning into something long-term? And so I started doing that by having my group coaching and mastermind program and my retreats. And now I've got clients from audiences that I met 8 years ago that are still paying me every single month. So that's very stable. It's stabilized revenues, and it's given me massive amounts of peace of mind and liberated me from having to go on the road to sing for my supper. So one of the things that we're looking for here is, what are your opportunities to leverage your content for these audiences that you're speaking in front of, for the associations or the corporations or the people themselves? For example, would it make sense for people to have a follow-up program, whether that's a book, a workbook, a platform, a learning management system, or something where they could start to practice and implement what you're teaching in your speaking engagements? One thing to remember is that if you're a successful speaker, you're probably in front of your audiences for 90 minutes, maybe a couple hours. Maybe if you're, really doing some deeper work, half a day or a full day with a breakout or something like that. But nothing is mastered in that short amount of time. And so instead of going broader and trying to get more of that kind of business, what I want to invite you to is, how can you go deeper into the client relationship? How can you help them master what it is that you teach rather than just have a surface level understanding of it? So can you leverage your content by giving them post speaking engagement materials, programs, tools, and resources that will help to stretch out the learning and help them really develop mastery? You can do certifications, you can do licensing. I have a friend in my $1 Million Speaker Mastermind, Bill Cates, with a C, Cates, and he has this whole learning management video platform where he basically has recorded answers to all the major questions and trainings and things into this platform, and then he just licenses it to the company, and they just do a renewal every single year of that license. And it's actually I think it's even on autopilot, the renewal process. I'm not sure about that piece, but you could have it on autopilot. That's a great way to create a big back end that does not require a ton of your time and attention. Now, of course, there's that upfront investment to get the thing built. And you could even have a client pay for that. You could say, hey, I'll produce this thing for you for this cost, and I retain the rights to it. And then you have the opportunity to repurpose it somewhere else. Now, another way that you could leverage your speaking into back end is by teaching other speakers, other consultants, other coaches how to do what you've done, and then license them or certify them so that they can take your work out into the world. Great example of this is Gino Wickman, who wrote the book Traction, and another one is Mike Michalowicz, who wrote the book Profit First. Both of them do speaking engagements, and both of them have managed to turn those engagements into back-end engines to drive the back end, which is their certification programs. Another way that you could offer your services on the back end is simple consulting services, high ticket, high level consulting at the strategy level. The reason I say high ticket, high level is because you don't want to get into, if you're trying to save your time and you don't want to be on the road too much, you don't want to sell trainings and things that are going to have you even on the road more. So you want to sell the higher level stuff so that then it can be implemented down in the rank and file of the company without you having to go out there and do it yourself. And again, that brings me back to that video content idea and the online learning management systems and platforms. Another thing you could do is what Sally Hogshead did. She wrote the book How to Fascinate. She's a genius. I interviewed her on my podcast, so if you're curious, you can learn more about her there. She developed a test, How to Fascinate, the Fascination Advantage test. And now she puts that test out to all her audiences, and they pay her when she gets speaking engagements, she gets paid to do the engagement, but also to give the test to everybody. And then there's follow-up books and workbooks and programs and even a certification for people who want to become certified in her testing methodology and in her coaching methodology. And then finally, my absolute favorite way that I'm not going to dive into deeply in this video because I have whole videos about it is to create some sort of group coaching or mastermind program. I have a whole playlist, I'm going to link to it below, that you can check out about how to build, how to grow a group coaching practice or a mastermind business. And if you're looking for some support and what kind of model makes sense for you and you want my feedback and my guidance, you can book a call with me at superstaractivator.com/go. And you can learn more about my programs at superstaractivator.com. I'll hope to meet you soon.